Hey everyone, welcome to today's Explainer. I'm really excited to jump into this topic with you. Now, if you own an induction cooktop, you already know they are incredibly fast, efficient, and super sleek. But when things go wrong, well, they can also be incredibly confusing. Today, our main goal is to decode those cryptic beeps and flashing lights on your cooktop. By the time we're done here, you won't just understand exactly what your appliance is trying to tell you, but you might actually save yourself a pretty significant amount of money and a whole lot of headache.
You know the feeling. We've all been there. Just picture this. You're right in the middle of cooking dinner. You've got everything chopped and prepped, your pan is perfectly heated, the family's hungry, and then, out of nowhere, beep, your cooktop just completely shuts down. The interface goes entirely unresponsive, and it is just incredibly frustrating to have all your plans unexpectedly halted by a machine that flat out refuses to cooperate.
Okay, let's dive into this. That dreaded, glowing red error code on a dark interface feels like a countdown to a complete appliance meltdown, right? But I want to offer you a little shift in perspective here. While these error codes definitely look scary, they're actually a mixed blessing. See, your cooktop isn't just randomly breaking down. It's a highly intelligent machine that's actively trying to communicate with you. It's trying to tell you exactly what's wrong. We just need to learn how to translate it.
And that translation is exactly what we're going to do today. Here's our roadmap for the explainer. We'll start with decoding the cryptic beeps, then cover simple fixes you can do, unpack the notorious E2 error, look at internal faults and fatal errors, weigh the repair versus replace dilemma, and finally, go over keeping your cooktop error-free.
All right, Section 1, decoding the cryptic beeps as a universal language. Now, while it's totally true that every single brand, from Samsung to Bosch, has its own specific quirks, there's actually a standard underlying system of codes that most manufacturers rely on.
This brand-agnostic map brilliantly illustrates the basic taxonomy of these errors, and you can see how they clearly escalate in severity. An E0 typically points to a simple user error, like a missing or incompatible pan. E1 and E2 step it up to internal overheating warnings. Move down to E3 and E4, and you're often looking at electrical voltage fluctuations coming straight from your wall. And finally, those E5 and E6 codes. They drop you right into the severe territory of fatal sensor or circuit faults. Understanding this basic categorization really takes the panic right out of the beep.
Moving right along to Section 2, simple fixes you can do with pans and power. We're starting with the absolute easiest tier of errors here, and I really want to reassure you that a massive portion of the problems you'll run into can actually be fixed in under a minute without spending a single dime. Take the classic E0 error, or if you have a Samsung model, you might see an underlined U. This is just the cooktop's way of saying, hey, I do not detect a pan here. Induction cooktops are famously picky, you know? They strictly require flat-bottomed magnetic pans that actually fit the heating zone, usually somewhere between 12 and 26 centimeters. If you're ever in doubt about your cookware, just grab a standard fridge magnet. If it sticks firmly to the bottom of your pan, you are good to cook. If it slides right off, your cooktop is going to just keep rejecting it.
Next up is what I like to call the patience tier, which you'll usually see pop up as an E3 code. When you see this one, just take a deep breath. Sometimes the absolute best fix is simply waiting. An E3 just means the surface is way too hot. So first, check underneath and around the unit to make sure the vents aren't being choked off by kitchen towels or a stray cutting board. Then, literally just walk away and let it cool down. But keep in mind, the time it takes to reset varies wildly by brand. A Bajaj cooktop might reset in 3 to 5 minutes, a Prestige might take 10, and a Philips, well, that could require you to wait a full 30 minutes before the sensors let you cook again.
Now, sometimes you won't even get a clear error code. The whole interface might just freeze up, become completely unresponsive, or maybe throw a D0 code on a Samsung, which indicates a stuck button. A lot of the time, this is simply caused by moisture. A wet touch panel from boiled over water, or even just a slightly damp finger can completely paralyze those sensitive sensors. A quick wipe with a dry towel or a simple power cycle by unplugging it from the wall for a few minutes is usually all it takes to get the system back online.
Section 3. The notorious E2 error, a tricky shapeshifter. The specific code really deserves its own deep dive, primarily because it's widely considered one of the most frustrating errors you're ever going to encounter. It perfectly bridges the gap between a simple user error and a highly complex internal failure. So as we saw in the map earlier, E2 is often classified as a standard internal overheating warning. But what if your cooktop is stone cold to the touch, hasn't been used all day, and it still screams E2 the exact second you turn it on. That completely challenges the standard definition, right? It forces us to look a whole lot deeper.
Because here is the crucial point. E2 can represent very real, much deeper electrical faults. It might be reacting to high voltage spikes coming from your home's power supply. Anything pushing over 250 to 270 volts is going to trigger a protective E2 shutdown. But more often than not, it points to a physical failure of the 10K NT thermistor, which is basically just your internal temperature sensor. And the technical reality here is kind of wild. A single cold solder or one tiny loose joint on that sensor socket can cause the entire system to fail, instantly throwing that E2 code.
And the unpredictability of this E2 error literally drives people crazy. Just look at this anecdote from a Reddit user who was trying to troubleshoot their unit. They wrote, "Even though it is on the lowest settings, I'm using a 1-quart Dutch oven. Is it faulty or is 1 quart too small?" This perfectly validates how maddening the E2 sensor issue really is. Even cooking on low heat with a small pot can trick a faulty sensor into triggering a complete system shutdown.
Which brings us to Section 4, internal faults and fatal errors, or basically knowing when to stop. Up until now, we've talked about things you can troubleshoot yourself, but safety is absolutely paramount, and some errors are a clear signal that it's time to step away.
If your display is flashing a persistent E1, E5, or E6, you are looking at fatal internal errors. These signify critical failures in the internal thermal relay or the main cooling fan. And listen, if that cooling fan fails, the internal electronics will literally fry themselves to death. So I want to firmly advise you right here, if a persistent E5 or E6 appears and it simply won't go away after a cooldown period, stop troubleshooting immediately. Do not try to open the unit yourself, unplug it, and call an authorized professional.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is just how amazingly complex modern internal control boards have become. Look at this excerpt from a BSH service manual. That's the parent company for brands like Bosch, Siemens, and Gaggenau. They don't just use a simple E1 or E5. They use highly complex subcodes like E0122 or E2130 to diagnose intricate pinpoint board failures. The technology running underneath your cooking surface is practically a supercomputer.
Section 5, the repair versus replace dilemma, the hard economics. Because when one of those fatal internal codes does pop up, you face a major financial decision. Do you fix the thing or do you scrap it entirely?
Let's look at the stark math behind cooktop repairs. Based on real data from the appliance pros over at Stove Doctor, it's pretty eye-opening. On side 1, you have the cost of repairing an old unit that's out of warranty. A new main control board alone can cost $644.39, plus another $180 to $300 just in labor. That brings your total repair cost to well over $800 or even $900. Now look at side 2. Buying a brand new induction unit with updated technology and a fresh 2-year warranty will often only cost you between $400 and $800 total. The math here is undeniable. Replacing is often significantly cheaper than repairing.
Plus, there's this hidden cost to repairing that you really should be aware of, the technician's guessing game. Because these induction boards are so incredibly complex, properly diagnosing them requires detailed circuit schematics and specialized testing equipment like oscilloscopes. But the problem is, manufacturers rarely share those specific schematics publicly. So paying for a service call often means you're just funding a technician's guessing game at your own expense, basically paying them to blindly swap out expensive parts until something finally works.
And finally, Section 6, keeping your cooktop error-free with preventative care. Because ultimately, we want to extend the life of your appliance through simple, proactive, everyday habits.
First off, let's distill this entire explanator down into a super easy, actionable 4-step framework you can pull out anytime your cooktop starts acting up. Step 1, check the power and the plug to ensure you have a solid connection. Step 2, check your pan to guarantee it's the right size and strictly magnetic. Step 3, check your vents, clear away any blockages, and let the appliance cool down completely. And step 4, if none of that works and you're getting those fatal codes, unplug it and call for professional help.
So how does this build into your daily routine? To stop errors before they even start, strictly use flat-bottom pans that match the zone size perfectly. Always, always keep your air intake and exhaust vents completely clear of dust or kitchen towels. Wipe down that touch panel immediately so it stays perfectly dry. And here's an absolutely crucial habit for you. Always let the internal cooling fan finish its cycle completely before you unplug the appliance from the wall. Pulling the plug while the unit is still hot is a fast track to frying that expensive control board.
We've definitely covered a lot of ground today, from simple magnetic pan checks all the way down to the harsh realities of control board economics.
So I want to leave you with this provocative final thought. For the very next time you hear that dreaded beep, is your aging flashing appliance actually worth saving, or is it time for a modern, reliable $400 upgrade? It's a tough question for sure, but hey, now you have the clear financial and technical data to make the absolute best choice. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and here's to a future of smooth, error-free cooking.